Morning, it's April 8th. It's Monday, and I'm making this video to give you the opportunity to write a lesson. All of you are at different levels, so what I want to do is challenge the people who have a little more experience and also walk the people through the steps who are brand new. So I have in front of me the document I gave you last week, art resources, about lesson planning. I'm going to go through each piece so you can watch this video, have a printout near it. It talks about the lesson planning, and it gives you what the aim is and different things. And basically the lesson plan serves a few different purposes. One thing is to give you some mental structure, a map on what you want to teach, how you're going to teach it, what supplies you'll need, and what you hope that the kids are going to show you at the end that they know. So I've been doing this for a long time, and I want to convey some real key things that I've learned over the years that are very important to remember. So the first thing, a lot of times you can do an idea and start from your idea, or you can actually take a piece of artwork, or it could be a piece of artwork from art history or artwork you find online, and look at that, and you're looking at the art and you're saying, okay, what was the learning in there? What did the child learn? Or what did it doesn't even have to be a child. It could be, what did this individual learn in making this? How did they use color and texture and the elements of design? How did they use the principles of design? What kind of emotional exploration was there? What kind of subject matter was discussed? If it was looking at events of the times or expressive art, having a statement. It could be political, it could be environmental, it could be about relationships. A lot of artwork is about relationships and humanness. So I advise you, if you haven't done a lesson before, look online, find a grade level you feel comfortable with, K through 12, find a piece of artwork from there, or maybe a few, and build a lesson around it. Could be a lesson that you did as a kid, or you might have seen a teacher do. So start with that and take a look at it and see what the learning was. So the first thing here is the aim. What is the point? What is the major thing that you want the students to learn or discover? This is like this is the abstract of your lesson. It's a short summary. So you kind of got to know from the beginning, what's this about? What is the aim of this lesson? And as I said in the beginning, there's a reason we have this as a map, but it's also to prove to your administrators, this is what I'm doing in the arts room and how it's tied into literature and science and history. So that's also a verification how we are important in the visual arts. It also plays another part. Besides being your map, besides being a communicator to all the administration and other teachers and the team, it plays the role of year to year, where are your students going? If you're an elementary teacher, you are going to have students start with you in the beginning, and each year you're giving them new information and developing them as a thinker, a creator, and as an artist. So your lesson plans are documenting their growth of knowledge. It could be art history, it could be science, whatever it is, but the art making skills. So you have this nice trajectory of what a child would learn in your art room from the beginning to the end. Could be middle school, could be high school. And so these are the three big reasons why we have lesson plans. They're always evolving, they're always changing, and I do believe that the first time you teach a lesson, it's trial run, and the second time you teach it, you're tweaking a little from what you learned the first time, and by the time you're teaching that lesson the third time, you're kind of getting in the groove. So know that that first lesson is a trial base. Now, what if you only teach that lesson once this year, the second year, the third year? Well, that's a long time to get and tweak it and polish it. But if you have all third graders, you might start on a Wednesday morning and you teach it one way, you change it before lunch, after lunch it's taught a different way, and maybe Thursday you have the last group of third graders. It's a whole different lesson. Is that permissible? Yes, because this is just a map. And a really big thing is after you've taught the lesson, I can't stress this enough, you go back and you make comments and commentary on what worked, what didn't work, what the kids revealed they needed. Oh, you know what? They weren't really good at using rulers. Next time I need to do this. They were very interested in this. I need to put more of that. So get in the habit of a post commentary of your own lesson plans. So the next time you're not recreating the wheel or learning that lesson over again of what changes needed to be made. These are working documents. All right, I want to go to the really meat of, here it has the essential questions. And the one they give you, essential hook question, what questions the students could be excited and interested in. Now, if you are an inner city kid and you're talking about hoot owls out in the woodlands, they might not be that interested, or maybe they would be. So your job is to pull it into their world, to their interest zone, and also to their developmental level. That's a really big thing, not to go way over their head, not to go under their developmental age and be babyish, and to try to create something that's very exciting and that's going to keep their interest and have them grow. So you might be off when you're first talking, and they may show you like, but you know what, this, that. Okay, there you go. Now they've shown you where to navigate. You're holding the steering wheel, and they're all in the bus. So again, be flexible, but you want that general question to be targeted on their interests and their developmental level, and make it be that it's very meaningful to them. A lot of their relationships with nature, with people, with work, with life, go to the heart. That's where the learning is, and I hope you're learning that in the different projects I give you. Go to what makes a difference. Sometimes the facts about art history taught bare and dry are out of the head after the artwork is made. How does it relate to them? All right, so that hook question, get it to them. What's meaningful to them? What's part of their identity? The next part is objectives and learning goals. After your lesson is done, what will the students have learned? So another way that I put this is, what did they show you? Did they show you that they were using color to be dramatic? Were they showing texture in a way that really brought to life the scene or the portrait of a person? So here it has, oftentimes it is helpful to answer 3 prompts about a general exploration, the specific learning, and the artistic action or process. Students will explore, students will know, and students will be able to. So those 3 prompts are a really good place to start. If you haven't written lessons, what will they explore? Very general. What will they know? Will they know about materials? Will they know about facts? Will they know how to use color, line, shape, balance, juxtaposition, whatever it is? And they'll be able to, and you can start with those 3, or you can come up with your own questions. But they're very good to use because they kind of really round out the learning. On this piece of paper, it does show you some examples. Students will be able to explore symbolism, and it gives you a couple examples. One really important thing that I see student teachers or teachers doing is saying students will learn how to work in a group. Okay, well, they should be doing that anyway. Those are exterior part of the learning process. Students will be able to keep good care of their materials and be respectful of their, well, that's a general given as well. So stay away from the things that are general part of practice in an art room, and make, when you're doing these, student will explore, make it be the newness of this particular lesson. All right. Then you have materials and resources. And it says, think of this as your to-do list for setup. This is for you now. This is also the planning of, oh my gosh, I have 6th grade after lunch. You should be able to look at that lesson plan and it's bulleted. Brushes, tempera brushes, what colors, cans for water, da-da-da-da, bum. Teacher sample, slideshow of. So it's your prep list. All right, so that's an important thing. And keep it nice and simple. Keep it as a go-to. And if something gets added in it, again, after the lesson, you can add it. Size of paper. Do the kids get to work long or tall? Maybe you give them different papers. So make sure you put that in there. Kinds of paper. And it could even be the weight of the paper if you're using materials that a 90-pound watercolor paper might be important. Tempera or drawing paper as compared to tracing paper. And so this is your setup list. Vocabulary and art history. We have the literature part. A lot of times principals and team planning with the literature and boosting up and being part of the English language and literature, how we are part of interdisciplinary. Vocabulary is very, very important. What does the arts bring to that child? We'll say 4th grader. That's a new word that they can use within their life, within their learning, within their discussions. That's appropriate and part of their learning. Not that's something that they're not going to, okay, great. All right, that wasn't important to me. New things that are going to be part of their learning. Describe it in your lesson plan, not from the internet, not from your resource book that you learned in college of what composition was. And then what you're going to do is put it in the student's language for that grade. All right, so when you're writing your lesson plan, put it in a description that you would be able to write on your blackboard or your whiteboard or on a big pad, and have the kids write it in their notebooks. Your students should have notebooks, and they should be documenting this, and you should be having mini quizzes and things because we are one of the disciplines. So that goes with the vocabulary. It can be about the elements of design, the principles. It can be a new word that's pulling in poetry or art history. So make it be something that they're going to be held accountable. You're going to be using it throughout your teaching. It's not just thrown in there, said once, and it's out the window. Otherwise, don't bother. Make this list be something that you know by the end of the school year, this is part of the vocabulary you built into their learning that could be quizzed, could be discussed throughout the semester, throughout the school year, and again, in their descriptive terms, the words that they would use. All right, so the next thing we have here would be procedure, and that is basically how you doing this. And starting with the hook and motivation, it talks about it here, about we're going to do this, we're going to rip paper, then we're going to do this, and it shouldn't be a big, long page. It should be short things. You can bullet it on what the kids are doing. For my lesson that I'm asking you to do, I'm going to ask you to do, most of you to do a one-shot lesson. If you want to do a few-day lesson, a certain grade, that day 1 this happens, day 2, day 3, you may do that, but I'm asking most of you to just do a 1-page, and I am going to critique these, and I am going to really go through them and go work through them to give you suggestions and critique, because that's the biggest area in student teaching that everybody struggles with. First year teachers, second, by third, fourth year, you're getting it down. But it's like riding a bike, and you're going to be faltering. They're not going to be perfect. So stick with a 1-day lesson, a 1-shot, if you can. If you feel you want to challenge yourself more, you know how to write lessons, you can do a few day. And no units, no curriculum, big thing. This is focus on lesson plan. All right, I want to go back to... let's go with differentiation. Think about how you're flexible. for the different learners in the room. I encourage that you do write things down. I'm a visual learner. We're the visual arts. If you don't write that, step 1, rip paper. Step 2, arrange them on your paper. Step 3, glue them on. Step 4, kids need sequential. And it's really important, even high school kids, that you write it down somewhere. You can do a handout for older kids, but that's really, really important that you write these things down. Because if you say, oh, you're going to do this, and then you do this, and then you do this, you're going to lose more than half of your class when they get started with the materials. So have, a whiteboard, a blackboard, a big white, a big fold or big pad of paper with a marker. But use visuals in your classroom as you're teaching. There's also making sure auditorily everybody can hear you and you're very clear, asking, did everybody get that? What was step 1? What was step 2? Auditorily checking in with them. So you also may have special needs students who may need for you to alter the project. And that should be in your lesson plans too. Don't go crazy wild with it, but you can give, if a child had a hard time with hands, maybe they're not cutting, maybe they're ripping, a simpler project. So that's a really important thing. Also under differentiation, I want to go towards high school level right now. Every class has 3 levels, every class, but I want to focus on high school. You have your group. They are all first studio, 9th, 10th graders. You're going to have a big chunk of how many kids in your class that are in that middle zone. Then you're going to have some kids that are needing more assistance. They might be special needs. They may just not have any exposure to art. They may have no confidence. They're going to be your learners that need extra help. Then you have your achievers that they're going to whiz through that middle group and they're going to need to be challenged more. Maybe they're already excelling in arts. Maybe they have parents as artists or their grandparents and they do a lot of artwork, so they're going to zip through. Well, after they zip through, then what? They could be the troublemaker in the class. They could be bored. They are your student too. So you have 3 different students. Your one in the beginning that needs the extra attention, more concrete. Your middle big group that this lesson is written for, and then your students that are the exceptional learners. So let's take a simple lesson with that. Let's take that you're going to do Greek architecture. So they have to study, the middle group has to study and research and gather on the internet or books different images of columns and architecture for Greek or Roman, whatever, we'll say Greek. And so that's your middle group. Now they're going to make artwork, draw, sketch, measure, rulers to reduplicate or create something that is similar to that architecture. Middle group. The group that needs more hands-on, more concrete, maybe they're working in paper there or styrofoam or 3D, more tactile, and they're building columns. Maybe they make just 1 column, or maybe they do something with bricks. You're watering it down, or not watering, you're simplifying it so there's something more tangible, more concrete for them. Still, they're doing the learning, they're looking at the visuals, but they can create something within their own skill level. Now we go up to the highest level. They might be researching to categorize. Maybe they're comparing Roman to Greek. Maybe they write a simple research paper. Maybe they have to show 3 images of architectural. So you challenge them a little bit more. So you have your middle group, your group that needs more concrete, more attention, and then your excelled level, who are going to probably do a little bit more independent study. That's every class. So if it's 5th grade and you're teaching color, maybe color with a particular artist, Monet or whatever. Maybe the excelled group, maybe they have to use many more tints and 10 colors, where the middle group might be using 5 colors. And maybe the simple group of keeping things more concrete, maybe what they're going to do is they're going to have more hands-on. Maybe they're ripping paper. Maybe it's already pre-cut and they're building shapes into the architecture. What does a column look like? So remember that, and that's your part of differentiation. All right, and a phone is ringing, but that's not for me. The next thing is assessment. List the formative assessment. Now, assessment can be you doing a checklist with them, a group teacher asking, and you assess the group by a group conversation. It can be a checklist that you ask them to show you 3 textured boxes using cross-hatching, and then you ask them to incorporate it into their artwork. And, so you're going to go to the original, what you asked them to do, which hopefully is a specific thing. Show me 5 of this, show me 2 of this, using color in a way that shows contrast. You got to do it so after you do your whole spiel, the student says, oh, I have to show her 3 new colors that I've mixed to reminisce of this memory I have. And hold on, I got something there. So now when you have to assess, you can say, Johnny, did you show me 3 tiles of that you experimented with 3 different colors you made? Are they very different? Okay, good, check. Did you incorporate them in your test tiles into your artwork? Yep, check. Were they painted in a painterly way, showing texture? Whatever you set up in your objectives, now you go back and you assess. All right, your assessment can be that checklist, can be that they write a paragraph, can be many different ways. And it's important that it really reflects to your objectives. I've had students in the past say, give grading to a student like, well, you know what? They went outside the box and they added paper that went off, and so I gave them an A. Well, Teresa, she followed your exact instructions, and you're not giving her an A because she didn't do something original, and well, that's not grading. So if you want them to think in a new way, show new material, break a boundary, then incorporate that in your objectives. Grade fairly. Your grading is what you ask them to do, what you ask them to show you concretely or by talking about the work, and then grading. Did you show me this? Did you show me this? Did you explore with new lines, thick and thin and long and short and jagged? It should be pretty observable. Show me this. Did you show me? All right? So that's something to hone you in with writing your objectives, that you don't do them too vague. All right? And that's why cooperating with a group, that could be bonus points. If the student showed great effort, spent their time really productively, those can be extra credit points, but they're not main objectives, that we said. All right, so this lesson, I believe, is due, what is today's date? I think I might have said, let's see, today is the 8th. On the 14th, you have your field thing due, so I said the 21st. If you can email these lessons, that'll gives you this week, next week, and then on that Sunday, the 21st, please email your lesson. Ask questions if you want to send a preliminary thing. If you don't have a printout of our language as art educators is the principles of design and the elements of design. If you are not using them, it's like science not talking about the vocabulary and the knowledge that's in science. That's our ground. So please make sure you are using them so that a 4th grader goes to 5th grade, to 6th grade, you know that you taught them contrast, you taught them perspective, and you're building upon it. If you have any questions, please email me. You also can text me if you really have a big question and I haven't responded to you. And I believe we're not having any hangouts till the end to wrap things up, but I will be opening up the Moodle today. And please, again, ask lots of questions. Good luck with your lesson plan. If you're sweating and you're struggling, Hey, that's good. That's what happens. And by the time you're a third year teacher, piece of cake. Have a great day.